What's up, y'all? It's the Gamer back with another DaGreatest opinion. And for this episode, I want to talk about My Hero Academia. So, My Hero Academia has now started season 4 as of this video. And quick disclaimer for those who might want to get into my comments about this. Yes, I do read the manga. Yes, I'm caught up. And I will do my best to avoid spoilers for those who only watch the anime when it comes to this discussion. But one thing I wanted to talk about when it came to My Hero is, for the longest time, ever since My Hero started, it's been getting a lot of pretty similar comparisons to Naruto, especially Naruto before the time skip. I'm sure there's been other videos and other discussions about this. I'm not going to get into this too much, but it's pretty fair to say that My Hero Academia had a lot of similarities to Naruto when it first started. And it seems, especially with season 4 and where the manga is currently at, that the idea of a big 3 in My Hero Academia, it seems to be a little inevitable at this point. Granted, we already technically have a big 3 in My Hero Academia, right? They were introduced in season 3, right? They're going to be a lot more prevalent in season 4, and they are the big 3, right? They're the Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura of My Hero in that regards. But, you know, like every generation of Naruto, there's also a big 3 in My Hero, with those 3 being Deku or Midoriya, Bakugo, and Todoroki. I will say, in like My Hero's defense, it has done a better job in a lot of aspects when it comes to avoiding some of the same problems that Naruto originally had when it came to focusing on characters, right? The other supporting cast of classmates in My Hero have remained relatively relevant. They all had their moments here and there. Say, you know, with the exemption of maybe Invisible Girl, right? They've all done like cool things either within the anime, within the manga, within the movie that just came out, right? They've all kind of kept themselves relevant to some degree. But, you know, you can't really argue that, you know, the big 3 are, again, Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki. And it just seems like, especially with things that are happening in the manga, not getting into spoilers, but it would seem like the series will inevitably head to a point where those 3 will become so strong, especially with Deku having the power of All Might, potentially, that they will be the main focus of the story. Now, granted, it's obviously happened before, right? Naruto, again, is the closest thing that resembles this. You could argue that Dragon Ball is guilty of this. You can argue that One Piece is guilty of this to some degree, right? It's not atypical for like a shonen series to have the more popular characters all of a sudden be the most powerful characters, right? Because you still want people to watch, you still want people to invest into these characters. But one of the things that I'm hoping that My Hero avoids, and has done such a good job avoiding up until this point, is not having the series focus mainly on those 3, right? I don't want to get to a point where, like, let's say Kirishima, is that his name? I think his name is Kirishima. I don't know. I don't remember all everyone. Pardon me if I don't remember everyone's names totally, but you know, the guy who can make his body hard, right? Like, I don't want to get to the point where he no longer has any purpose in the main story because the villains and the main heroes are on such a level that he can't hope to keep up. Granted, they're not going to be even across the playing field, right? Somebody has to stick out of the group. They can't all be overpowered. But you kind of still want these scenarios where these other characters can still be relevant, still contribute, still do really cool things, while still making room for those standout characters to have standout moments. But that's just what I'm thinking, you know? And again, to be fair, it's not that these big 3 are without merit, right? It's like Bakugo's powers are overpowered. Todoroki's powers are stupidly overpowered. You know, so like it makes sense for them to be in a tier above their classmates, which is fine. I'm just thinking that maybe the series might end up going in a direction that only focuses on those 3, with everyone else kind of having these occasional roles, these occasional moments, right? Like, what made the Stain arc so great, for example, is that it put these characters in these situations where certain characters just became more relevant than you would have expected based on what was happening within the story, right? You can't have the big 3 show up anytime there's a threat, right? There was a little bit of diversity in what happened, who fought who, and how the fights played out. But that is just my thoughts. What do you guys think?